this head would be cute, but I feel like I kind of look like a scarecrow. Not the look I was going for. Hey guys, so I'm here today with another Halloween tutorial. Of course, I had to do a skull. I love doing skulls just because they're so versatile. So many ways to just make it your own. So yeah, I hope you guys like how this skull makeup look turned out. And if you want to see how I got it, just go ahead and keep on watching. Okay guys, so the first thing I'm going to do is start with my eyes. It's going to be very dramatic, so I want to make sure I get primer all the way, like even towards right here, the outer part of my eye. And then I'm going to set it with a translucent powder. I'm just using my Tarte Shape Tape concealer to prime my lids, and then I'm using my Dermablend powder, and I'm really making sure I set it really well. And then I'm going to be using pretty much the whole time my Jaclyn Hill palette for this look. I just started with a transition color, and then I built up browns and then up to a black, just so that I could get a really dark, smoky outer corner. And then I'm going to get a face wipe and just clean up that corner. You could also do like the tape trick. And my husband was on call, so he had to go to work. But I am now taking the Stila Magnificent Metal like glitters. I used Kitten Karma, but I felt like it was just too like champagne-y, I guess. I wanted a little more yellow gold to match the Moondust eyeshadow that I'm going to use later on. So I packed on with my finger the gold eyeshadow that's in the Jaclyn Hill palette, and then I just like blurred out the edges. Now I'm going to be using the NYX Epic Ink Liquid Eyeliner to make a very dramatic wing. And then after this, I apply my falsies. So I didn't have falsies that were very dramatic like I needed them to be. So what I did, I just took two Ardell Demi Whispies and stacked them on top of each other. And then after I put my falsies on, I felt like my outer corner was not dark enough. I wanted it to be just as dark as my liquid liner, so I packed on a little bit more black with a pencil brush, and then I blurred the edges with a blending brush. Now I'm going to prep my skin. I used the same primers I always use, and then I used this like glow, I don't know what it's called, but it's the one that I got my BoxyCharm that I've used a few times in my videos. And honestly, this is not necessary just because I felt like it didn't, with how light my foundation was, it didn't really do much. So this is definitely like, you can skip this step. But then I ended up going in with the Wet n Wild Photo Focus foundation. This is the lightest foundation I have. I bought it and it was just way too light for me, and I just never returned it. It's just a little too ashy for my skin tone, as you'll see. But I ended up just buffing that in with this Real Techniques foundation brush. Now I'm going to go in with some Shape Tape under my eyes, very, very blown out, all the way to the top of my cheekbone. This is in the color Light. It's the lightest one that I have. And I feel like it worked really well just because I didn't do like a very stark white base anyway. So I really liked how this kind of just brightened up the under eye like with the same tone, but not too white at the same time. So anyways, I just buffed it in just how normal concealer is. I just, like I said, dragged it down a little bit further than I normally would. And for the cream contour, which is what I'm going to be using for most of all of the kind of skull-like features on the face is this Anastasia liquid lipstick in Sepia. It has like a purple undertone to it. I really, really love how this made the whole look kind of a little bit different, not your typical black or like gray kind of colors. So I just ended up doing just kind of the same technique that you usually do when you kind of contour. I didn't want to do a very cut out, like, you know, kind of geometric looking typical, well, not typical, but just like the more like specific cut out cheekbone. I wanted to do it kind of like similar to a normal kind of contour. So I ended up just doing the line, buffing it in with a smaller brush, and then I go over the edges with the same brush I used to blend out my concealer. So now for the brows, I worked quite a bit on the brows. So basically, I just filled them all in with the black shadow in the Jaclyn Hill palette. And I did use like my own eyebrow shape. I didn't really reshape them or anything. I just used black to make it that much more intense. And then you'll see that I'll go back later and kind of blend it down into my nose contour to make it more dramatic. Now I'm going in with Sepia right here at the like front of the brow, and sorry about the color change. I had to stop filming once my husband left for work, so I came back and it was already darker outside, so I didn't have any natural light, just my ring light, so that's why it looks different. It doesn't look as warm as it did earlier. But anyway, so I'm just taking the Sepia liquid lip and just kind of blending from my brow down. So you'll see that I just add the color, I blend it out, blend it upwards, and then add the black hair strokes again because they kind of disappear, obviously, since this is a liquid lip, and then the brush strokes are like the eyeshadow, the black eyeshadow. So you'll see that I kind of go back and forth, and then sometimes if I added too much, and I'll just kind of blend it with a different brush that's clean or it has a little bit of concealer to lighten it up. So I just go back and forth until I get the color that I want, and then I do just go in the center and clean it up if it gets too close to the center. And yeah, so you'll see that it's just a bunch of back and forth to get it exactly how you want it to look. So now for the nose, I'm going in with the same Sepia liquid lip and just making the shape that I want for the nose. It's just, you can just fill in the tip of the nose kind of how I'm doing. You can make it as small as you want, as like round or like tall, like just kind of make it really skinny. The point is to just have two little skinny, like, you know, I don't know how to explain it, like just little skinny points on each side of your nose just to make it look more skeletal, you know, that's the look we're going for here. And then to clean it up, just use a small little thin brush with a little bit of concealer and just clean up the edges, clean up the points, make them a little more clean and pointy. Then just for a little more pizzazz, you know, I added some of the gold eyeshadow from the Jaclyn palette. Just needed a little fuel to start all of this shading. So I went in with the second to darkest color in the Jaclyn palette. It's that really dark, it looks almost black, but it has like a purple undertone in it, and I just started shading from the top of the like cheekbone area right there all the way down. And then I also grabbed the I Love Sarai palette, but the one with the really lilac like purpley color, and then I end up using that as well to bring it down further into like the lighter area of the cheek contour right there. And then I ended up going a little bit too heavy-handed with the dark shade right there. So I also take that same brush to soften up that edge. And then I'm going in, I didn't record this part, I can't remember why, but I just did two little kind of C's right there on the forehead area to further make it look a little scary. And then I also did one side of my temple, but I will have that clip in just a second. So I just ended up doing the little swivel C's right there just to kind of it looks like it kind of goes down into my eyebrow area, but it stops, you know, at that point. But then I just went in with that same blending brush I was using earlier for my cheekbone area to just, I didn't add anything to it, I just smudged out the edges, and then I went in with a clean brush to make it a little softer. So I wanted to include this side just because, but even though it was the messier side, I had more problems with this because usually it's the side that you do first that you kind of like have trial and error with. But I wanted to include it just so I could show you guys what I do when I kind of mess up. So I just started to shade the side of it, and it got a little too thick. And I just go in with a clean brush or a brush with a little bit of concealer and just clean it up. And you just want to put a little tiny bit of product on the brush and use a small brush, pretty much the same size that you want the line to look, and then just lightly touch your skin. You don't want to like rub too hard and then, you know, get it just a little too harsh. So you want to go as softly as you can, and then, like I said, go ahead and clean it up wherever you need to. And then here I am doing the little temple part. So I did kind of like a little bit of a figure 8, and then I just filled it in. And then this is the side where I already know how the shading is going to go and all of that. So this went a lot faster than the first side. And here I am just creating a little shadow with the same eyeshadow, like lilac color from the I Love Saie palette and ColourPop palette. And I'm just going to create the line with a skinny brush and then buff it out with a thicker, more blending brush. And then I'm going to take the Urban Decay Moondust eyeshadow, like liquid eyeshadow, I think it's called, in Zap. It's just like a kind of foiled gold color, and I'm just filling that negative space with that. And now I'm going to be covering up my lips with this Makeup Forever powder foundation and starting the teeth. So I just got a black liquid liner, and I started right in the center, made a line, and then just make the lines opposite of each other on the top lip. And I wish I would have made them just a little bit longer to make the teeth look a little bit more like scary looking, but I ended up just kind of making them kind of like normal teeth. So I just space them out however I want, and then I'm going to go in with that Urban Decay Moondust eyeshadow in Zap to fill in the teeth. So I'm gonna have gold teeth, all of them, all gold teeth. So then after I fill them all in and it dries a bit, I'm just gonna go over the black lines again, just so that they look a lot more clean and, you know, very black. And then I ended up adding these 2 teeth at the end right there. And now we're back to the brows. So here I'm taking a smaller brush to start darkening the area down into my nose. So I want it to kind of look just very seamless and kind of all of it blend together. So I needed to put a little bit of black in there to make it look more blended. And yeah, so I'm just going to keep going back and forth, adding color and then buffing it out, adding color with a smaller brush, buffing it out. And now for my lower lash line, I just take this really dense, tiny brush and just pack on the dark purple color all along my lash line. And then I take a buffing brush or blending brush, whatever you want to call it, and take that lilac color that I was using for the shadows, like on the rest of my face, and I'm going to be really smoking out that lower lash line. And now I took the Moondust eyeshadow and I'm putting it in the inner part of my lower lash line, like in my tear duct area, kind of doing the little like inverted liner like effect. and then I just dragged it a little bit towards the center of the lower lash line. And there's Jet back there just being goofy. And I'm going to be taking this Marc Jacobs Highliner, the purple one, and just lining my waterline. And then I'm just going to drag a little bit of that Moondust gold liquid eyeshadow through my brows just to give it a little some. And lastly, I put a little bit of gold underneath my black wing liner, and then I extended the purple underneath with a small brush, and then I cleaned it up with the little concealer brush that I've been using all throughout to clean up everything else, and that's it. Okay guys, so this is the final look. I hope you guys liked it. It took a while just because there's so much detail and so many kind of things that you like think about doing along the way. So just be patient and practice, and you will get the look that you're going for. Reference a bunch of different pictures, take different ideas from different pictures, and just make it your own. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.